What is up, everybody? I'm Jeff London. This is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, where we are intolerant of weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. Talking with high school and middle school native art teacher Ronnie Fairbanks today. Great artist, unbelievable artist, and he's taken the art to kind of a new realm. You have your traditional native art, and when you think of that, you think of totem poles, you think of carving, you think of drawings. But he does not only the drawings and the carvings, but he's also done with vector art, and so he's kind of computerized it and modernized some of it, all while staying true to the traditional designs. Yeah, just a great dude, very humble, very good artist, and a very good teacher. So it's a great conversation with him. We're going to talk some art. We're going to talk about the individual artist's opportunity to make the traditional art their own, and then also talk about bentwood boxes. Crazy stuff to use steam and use hot water to bend yellow and red cedar into boxes. Talk about teaching, talk about the rural life, and that is all coming up in episode 48 of the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast. Make sure you go to themediocrealaskan.com for other content. Here we go with Ronnie Fairbanks. So here in your classroom, we've got all different types of arts and drawing and student art. Can you picture your first drawing? And what does it look like in your head? How old were you when your first attempt?
Well, let's see. So I grew up in New Mexico, so there wasn't a whole lot to go off of. And one of my good friends went to the library and looked up on a microfiche.
The old research, yeah.
Some drawings, and I kind of sparked my interest. And the second I tried it, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Because, it's kind of tricky to draw a form line for sure. But drawing from the outside and trying to fit all the shapes in, looks horrible.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to do, and it didn't turn out good at all.
But how old were you?
I want to say a sophomore in high school.
Okay. Yeah. How do you get good then? Because obviously if you were terrible at first, everyone is terrible at the beginning. And then how do they get from that point to where you're at right now?
Like anything, practice, and passion for it too. Some people have like a lot of like natural talent, just like anything, like basketball, baseball, whatever. I grew up drawing seine boats and just scenes from like the dock and stuff. So that's all I did, as much as I could, just because I never got to hang out here too much in the wintertime, so that's all I would do because I'd dream about being a fisherman or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of drawing that way, and let's see, I never got into art per se. It just kind of was one of those things that I like to do, kind of. I like to work on cars and stuff more than anything when I was young. In high school, make things, forts and stuff when I was super young. It's good with my hands, I guess. Yeah. And as soon as I could, I started seining, and I was going to be this amazing seine boat captain. But it never worked out. So my mom said, you got to go to school, you got to do something. And I went to art school at IAIA, Institute of American Indian Art.
Where was that?
In Santa Fe, New Mexico. And by then, it was still kind of a developing school. It had been around for a while, but it's still developing, and it was on the campus of the college at Santa Fe, in these old like army barracks. It was kind of creepy at night, 'cause be out there late painting or whatever, and like you could feel the wind blow through the place, and there's all creepy. It's kind of like the cannery, same feel. But
was that tough being there? You're going to art school, and so everyone that is there is artistic or good. Did you feel that wow, I'm not as good as these other people, or did you feel that, all right, I can do this?
At first, I felt a little out of my league because I never, like in high school, I never took any art classes, so I took all Votech classes, and I don't know. My mom saw the talent in me, and she said either go to art school or Votech or something. You're not go to school though. So I kind of leaned towards art school because I was pretty interested in it, you know. And then after taking that first semester, it was like my mom knows what she's talking about because it really sparked an interest in me, and I started, developing skills and enjoying the classes and stuff. But there was no native art classes there, so, or as far as Northwest Coastal Art. So there were some really cool classes though, but I just wasn't into them at the time. Like printmaking, I learned all my printmaking skills from the school there. But I was really intrigued with Northwest Coastal Art, and I looked up colleges, and the Northwest Indian College had an art program, and so I transferred there, and that's where I met Teresa. She was going to Western there, and in Bellingham, Washington. And at the time, I had no idea what the difference between like Coastal Salish style and our northern style of form line and artwork was. I just was like, it's all the same. It felt like it was all the same to me. So I didn't realize how lucky I was, because then the teacher was a guy from Metlakatla, Tsimshian guy, and he showed me all the northern style and how to go about formally, quote unquote, how to create design and whatnot.
Yeah. So, as you became, at what point did you know that this was something you really wanted to get into? Because some people go to the art school and that was something that they did. They move on to a different career. But you look at your forearms. You got tattoos of it. Is that one of your designs, or did you make that and get that tattooed on there? And then the back of your truck has one. When did you know that this was something more than just the school that you went to?
That's a good question. I mean, as soon as I got into the art, I was pretty into my culture too. My mom, both my parents kind of instilled that in me. And I'd come up and fish, and then I'd dance with John as much as I could. So I was really into my culture, and still am, of course. But it was cool once I learned how to do the art, that I could. It was super, I guess, intriguing, or like I can really do this. It's weird. It's kind of a weird, hard to explain. But as soon as I guess I learned how to create form line from scratch, and I learned how to do that, then I was done. That was it for me.
Yeah. Well, I know you're modest, and John Roan is master, and he's humble too. How important is that, knowing that you're not the best ever, and hey, look at all my art? You're still learning, you're still growing. How important is that to keep in mind? Man,
I think it's huge. I mean, I'm definitely not the best, and I don't try to be, but I think it's definitely really important to show that, and to let the kids know that there's always room to grow. I took a form line class last couple months ago with David R. Boxley. The guy's so awesome. He's such a great guy. And he was like shocked that both John and I were in his class. I can't believe you guys are even in here. Why are you even here? And he's like, he said, I'm really honored that you guys are in here, because it shows all these other guys that there's always room for growth and there's always room to learn. And he was explaining, he apprenticed under Robert Davidson, and he said that Robert Davidson's been revitalizing the art since the 60s, and he's amazing to this day. He said that he opens up his sketchbook every day and draws something new every day. He's in his 70s now. It's pretty amazing. So, yeah.
So you and John are teachers. How important is that you are able to provide a connection to the culture? I went to school in Arizona, and then when I taught in California, when people think Native culture, it's sadly the first thing that comes to mind for them are reservations or casinos, because in some of those other states, there's no vibrant culture, whereas you come to Prince of Wales Island, Southeast Alaska, it's very vibrant. You have people who take pride in it, who speak the language, who are involved in the art, and it's real, and it's still existing. It's not something that has been totally eradicated. So how important is it that you're able to hold on to that and then provide that for the next generation, and how proud does that make you that you can pass that on?
I mean, it's one of the most important things in my life. It's kind of what I center my life around, actually. And I know it's kind of tougher in Craig because there's a lot smaller Native community in Craig, and it's great to see there's been kind of a rejuvenation. Anyway.
It's rejuvenated, yeah.
Yeah. It's rejuvenating in Craig, and like we took a group of kids to Celebration. Well, we kept it small. Julie Yates and I, we took 5 of them, and 4 out of the 5 had never even been to Juneau.
Oh, wow.
And Celebration just kind of blew them away.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that'll spark some very big interest in them, and that's the goal. I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, with some of the other challenges in being in a small community, I know it's changed a lot. I'm sure Teresa's talked about how it's changed from when we were in high school. What are some of the challenges of teaching in a small community? Not just necessarily for being a parent, but also as a teacher, and it's not the way it used to be. What are some of the challenges now teaching rural Alaska?
That's tough. Of course, there's always that. For me personally, there's always that Craig-Qulock rivalry, and it's not even as close to as bad as it used to be. Mm-hmm. But it's still, that's kind of a challenge. But it's nothing huge. But as far as I don't know, it's most of the time getting the kids to school and having them. I think my goal to get the kids to school is have them enjoy class, for one, and be proud about their culture. And some of them, I don't mean to brag or anything, far from it, but some of them, it's the one thing that they come to school for. Yeah. And that, to me, is the goal right there.
Yeah. There's a lot of distractions. You're talking about when you were growing up, you were building forts.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing we were doing up here, running down by the river, and you had to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
There was no other mode of entertainment in Qulock at the covered play area. There was 20, 30 kids from Craig and Qulock playing basketball or just hanging out on Thursday, Friday night, because that was what you did. Playing inside video games just wasn't. Video games weren't as good. Everything was moving left to right on the screen, But how do you deal with some of those distractions? And you see those distractions are hurting. Hey, kid, you go outside. Look, it's a beautiful day. You can go hike a mountain, but you're inside playing games. Well, do you see that that's a big impact?
Oh, huge. Video games and social media, man, it's a struggle in class and in life, too. My kids even do it. Fortnite, man. My kid's all about Fortnite. My oldest kid, even my middle child, Ray's, he's just starting to get into that. It's like,
after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plans shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
We've kind of started, Teresa actually started a no phones after 9 o'clock for a while there, which was pretty good. And, yeah, kind of, we did it at the camp out too. We took their phones away completely.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much they interact and have fun without posting it or whatever.
We do when we travel. We have the teams. We collect the phones, and so they just they lift their heads up and they start talking. They have so much more fun.
Yeah.
But it's totally like an addiction thing. Where they're just checking and it's shiny, and then as soon as they don't have it, they're just friends again. And it's not that's kind of I don't need my phone, but I kind of am on it.
Yeah. There was a guy that was at the camp just now. His name's, I don't know if you know Andy. What the heck is his last name? Awesome coach.
Baseball coach over in Ketchikan? Or over here?
No, he's working in Fairbanks now. He's a basketball coach. Andy. I can't think of his last name. Big, tall, bald head guy. Anyway, awesome guy. He was coaching for Sitka. He's a girls' Sitka coach, or another boys' Sitka coach. But he said they took away their phones at 10 o'clock every night, and they got 8 hours of sleep, and they were super rested for the game.
Yeah, you got it when you're traveling for sports. You got to take the phones away. Yeah. Otherwise, they can't help it. They're going to get the phones all the time.
It's crazy.
Were you ever addicted to anything on your phone? I had the old Nokia and the game Snake. Man, I would play Snake so much. It's the stupidest, simplest game ever. No color, nothing shiny at all. But man, I played that.
My best friend is all about that.
Oh man, yeah. So I know when I say, "Hey kids, it's addicting," because I was, I was totally on that. But
just social media, like Facebook and Insta and stuff. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Just to post pictures and see who likes them or whatever.
Yeah. How do you use it for? Because it can be used for good. Obviously, it's free marketing. It's free business. So totally. How have you used it for good, not evil, when it comes to your art?
Well, it's kind of cool just to post pictures of your progress and project and whatnot, or stuff that you've already done, and you'll get people messaging you or trying to get a hold of you. It's really, really good marketing.
I was talking with John about the Veterans Poll. It's going to be going up in August, which is just awesome. And he said he was talking about the individual creativity. So even though there's some basic terminology and basic shapes, the artist still has the ability to then put their own individual. So it's a traditional art form, yet you can make it your own. So how do you make it fit your own unique style while paying homage to and paying respect for the original shapes?
Dude, that poll is so sweet.
It's
but as long as you stick to the core basic rules of form line or whatever, Northwest Coast stuff, you can, as long as, for the most part, you can tweak it to your liking as long as there still follows the rules, and that's kind of what I do. I just kind of put my own twist on things. It's not, I try my hardest not to have my stuff look like anybody else's stuff. And I don't know if it's any different, I don't know if there's any different, characteristics about it that are, apparent all the time or what, but I don't know. I just try to do my own thing and make it look different from anybody else.
To the trained eye, I'm sure, as an English teacher, when I read someone, this sounds like Thoreau or this sounds like Emerson, whatever. So I'm sure the same thing with art. I'm not a super artistic person. I was the guy who was just hacking up his fingers in John's carving class. But it was great. It was fun. I loved it. Was a great class. The design on the back of your truck, is that your design?
Yeah.
And how'd you get the decal made for it?
So I was doing a formline class in formline. You know what formline is, and drawing class and design class in Wrangell for Sea Alaska Heritage as a community, like 3-day class, like a beginning formline. And the guy at the time was working for SHI. The art director was Rico Whirl, and he was just developing a company called Trickster Skateboards.
Okay.
And he asked me to do 2 designs, or a skateboard design for him. And I was like, skateboards, because I grew up skateboarding and snowboarding. Heck yeah, man. And as soon as I was like, as soon as he showed me that, or asked me that, he sent me a template of a skateboard, and I was drawing like crazy. And he's like, he was excited about it. I was excited about it, and I was asking him the process, like, now what? He said, well, send that to me. You have to take a picture or scan the drawing and send it to me, and I'll digitize it. I was like, well, how do you digitize it? He's like, it's kind of like Photoshop, but it's Illustrator, and you vector it rather than use pixels in Illustrator. So Nat was like, oh, I'm gonna do that, dude.
Yeah.
So I kind of taught myself how to vector designs, and that's how I get all my hoodies and the stickers. And I got a vinyl cutter, so I did all the stickers on my truck and all over everything.
You get orders and stuff for that?
I do,
yeah. Very cool.
Oh, I should show you something.
Yeah.
Pumped about it.
Oh, wow.
To learn how to vector. So the first skateboard that I did for Trickster, it's funny the difference between like you were saying, characteristics of art form. Mm-hmm. I sent him my drawing, and my style is a lot more Sipsian style. It's a lot skinnier, ovoids and stuff. And so I sent him the drawing, and he like clinkadized it. I was like, what the heck? And at first I was kind of caught off guard, but I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, you know? So it was like the ovoids were thicker and stuff. But after that, I did all the skateboards that I did 4 skateboards for him, and I did the rest of them, vectored them all. This is one of the skateboards, it's a Killer Whale.
That's cool. What about other art? I know you posted a couple of videos of doing bentwood boxes.
Yeah.
What about that and carving? Do you do a lot of that stuff too, or is it mostly the?
Bentwood boxes is kind of another thing that I really got intrigued with bending wood with steam. It's like, that's pretty cool.
Go through that process. Right? What exactly? You have to notch the wood, and then what's the temperature of the steam, and is there you got to bend it quick? Like, how do you do that?
So you get a plank of wood, and if you're making a box, it's 4 equal sides, and if you're making a chest, it's 2 long, 2 short sides, and you have to carve out a curve where you're bending the wood, so you got to measure it correctly. And that's like the Math Academy, we did that and showed the kids how to measure. If your measurement's totally off, then your box is going to turn out wonky and whatnot. But anyway, so you carve out a curve, one with this big one. One's a 90-degree cut, and this one's a 45 in that way.
Okay.
And that way, when it bends, this corner will go into that corner, and it'll bend to a 90.
Gotcha.
And so with the smaller boxes, I learned from John too. I think it was John showed me to soak the planks one night. And I have a steamer. There's a steam box.
Now, is that yellow and red cedar?
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible with anything else? It's kind of...
Yeah, I did a poplar one.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
So this is my steam box. Just pipe. Put it in there.
Okay.
And under the sink over there is a pressure cooker that I've turned into
Okay.
steam generator.
I'll have to take a picture of that to post with this so they know what we're looking at here.
Yeah. I'll grab that real quick. Yeah. But you soak the wood overnight. Looks like this is the pressure cooker that goes to the pipes to the steam box. Looks like we're making some moonshine.
Okay.
But and you put it in for 45 minutes to an hour, and get it nice and malleable, and pull it out, and you bend, and clamp it and let it set.
How much time do you have once you pull it out? It can't be
Not a whole lot of time. Yeah.
So you gotta get bending.
Sometimes they'll steam out and dry up super fast and break.
Oh.
You'll get like a tube done. Especially, like, I have a couple of students that, or even myself, I guess I'm guilty of it, that didn't carve out enough on the kerf. And that combination with it steaming out, it breaks.
Yeah. How often does that happen?
Not too often. Cool. And the more I've done it, the better I've caught it.
Yeah. Get the feel for it.
Here's a student. She left it over the summer.
So when you're grading kids, this is awesome. When you're grading kids on this, is it effort? Is it this thing looks like it's pretty solid? Like for a kid who tries everything, does everything right, but it just doesn't work out for them? Are they, how do you grade that? It's so hard to grade art.
Like fail.
Yeah. Your box broke, so there goes your grade.
No, the majority of my grading is daily participation, and with that, it shows in their work too. So
yeah,
I mean, if they're good, 90% of the time they're going to get an A.
Yeah,
I mean, if they show up and they work and they don't give me a hard time, then they'll do good, and it'll show in their work too. So I don't really grade heavily on their talent at all, because especially in middle school, they're kind of developing skills like that too. So
I think there's definitely some people it's a little bit more natural. They see things a little more artistic, but I also think there's some people who kind of stop short. They say that, well, because it's difficult, that they weren't meant to, or just not their thing, which you can kind of sniff out sometimes. Like, no, it's not that you're not. It's not that you're not good at this. It's that you're not really trying. It's kind of hard to convince kids that it's not. You can be okay at this, right? You're not going to be great necessarily, but you can be better than you're giving because you're not really working. It's tough to convince. And then you can look back, and I'm sure when I was looking at me in high school, I wasn't good at math, but did I try? Okay, I tried, but I probably could have tried a little bit harder. Right, you buy into that. Right. You do stuff at the high school too, or is it just
I do?
middle
Yeah,
school? Okay.
High school.
Right.
I'm in the art room there, so it's not as personalized as this.
Yeah,
I was kind of happy to get my own room.
Yeah.
I think Debbie was too, because I shared a room with her for 4 or 5 years, and she's super, super, super neat freak, like Troy Thame kind of.
Yeah.
Things perfect, and I'm just like.
Yeah. But well, anything to add, man? I know you got stuff going on. You got get prepared to leave town. So anything else you want to? Where can people find your stuff? Where can people?
So I haven't made a website yet or nothing. I'm in the Stone Age for as far as that goes. But I mean, my Facebook account, Ronnie Fairbanks, and my Instagram is Ronnie Boots or Ronnie_Boots. Just hit me up on Messenger, I guess.
Cool.
But thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate everything you're doing for the kids and keep the culture alive, and that's awesome. You're a great part of the community.
It's been great.
That will do it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Make sure you go to themediocrealaskan.com for content. Thanks again for leaving messages or ratings on iTunes and on SoundCloud, and we will talk to you next time.